You are not just another hustling salesperson. You are the expert, the resource, the valuable partner for your clients. And how you grow your business should reflect how your clients see you. Welcome to the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. We generate referrals without asking, build positive client experiences, and help you take control of your business. Here's your charmingly sarcastic host, Stacey Brown Randall.
Hey there, and welcome to episode 141 of the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Brown Randall. Okay, before we dive in, we're on day 2 of a 4-day challenge. And this challenge is how to think like a referral ninja master. That's right. Referral ninja masters think differently. And you know, when you think different, you take different actions, which brings you different results. So it's not too late for you to join us. We're only on day 2. Just sign up and we'll get you everything you've missed and get you all caught up. Just want to go to stacybrownrandall.com/challenge. And if you haven't taken a challenge with us, do it now. We don't offer a live challenge every month. So you definitely want to hop into this one because the next one isn't on the books for a couple more months. So join us at stacybrownrandall.com/challenge to get yourself signed up before it's too late. And if you've ever thought about joining the Growth by Referrals program, let me just say now would be a very good time indeed. Why? Well, we're talking all about it in the Referrals Without Asking Facebook group. You're going to want to make sure you get in there to hear what we're talking about. Okay, let's dive into this episode. If you'll remember back, episode 138, I gave a good breakdown of the first layer of the referral strategy. So I talked about this a little bit last year in episode 125 when we were looking at an overall perspective or an overall vision of how you can view or visualize your referral strategy. And it's not just a strategy that you execute on and you do it for one group of people and that's your strategy. I mean, some people certainly have that. But when I actually teach the different parts of having a holistic referral strategy, there's a couple layers to it. And so we started talking about this some last year about these 6 layers of the overall referral strategy. And this time, I'm breaking them down layer by layer. So in episode 138, just a few episodes ago, I broke down for you layer number 1. And that is really understanding what you do with your existing referral sources. So if you haven't listened to episode 138, I'm going to advise you actually may just want to pause right now and hop back over to episode 138 and listen to me break down this first layer of the referral strategy. Because the reality of it is, it's actually where you should start. You should actually start to see if you need layer number 1. And layer number 1 is focused on building a referral plan for how we will take care of our existing referral sources so that we can get more referrals from them. Now, I also covered these fabulous humans known as our referral sources in crazy detail in episodes 135 through 137. So those 3 episodes as well break down this whole concept of our referral sources, but really focusing on our existing referral sources. And then, of course, we talked about in episode 138, okay, if you know who these referral sources are, these existing, which means they've referred you, usually within the last year or 2, maybe 3 or 4 years, but they're your existing referral sources. What do you do for them? And that was all about the step-by-step I kind of walked you through in episode 138. But it's based on the people who have referred you in the past or are currently referring you. And then following that episode of 138, when I broke down understanding who layer number 1 is, who is it for? And then, of course, what the heck do you do? And we went step-by-step through that. Then we followed up after that episode with episode 139, and you heard from David Ferguson, who is a financial planner. Pretty awesome guy. I just adore him. He's a financial planner. And he broke down his experience, what I like to call his real world experience of putting layer number 1 into practice. And if you go back and listen to his interview, he'll tell you it wasn't all roses and sunshine. Like there weren't unicorns. Like he had to learn some hard lessons and look at some hard realities of his business, but it wasn't discouraging for him. And he talks about this in the interview. He talks about how it was empowering. It was empowering to understand what his business did hold, even if it wasn't everything he thought it was, what it did hold, and that he had a place to start from. And that was empowering for him. And then, of course, in that episode, we talk about the success that he had, which was awesome. Of course, I love it when my students have success, whether it is slow success or fast explosive success, whether it's fast or slow, I don't care. I just want you to get to the success that you are worthy of. And so when we talk through understanding how David put layer number 1 into practice, for a lot of you, because I heard from you guys, which I so appreciate when you guys reach out to me either in the Facebook group or in the just responding back to an email or whatever, and just letting me know how an episode resonated with you. When I heard back from you guys, you found it empowering as well to hear it from somebody else. And I was like, yes, because I can talk about it. Let's be honest, folks. I can talk about this stuff till I am blue in the face. And sometimes I feel like that's exactly what I'm doing. I can beat the dead horse really, really well. But when you hear it from somebody else who's taken what I teach, put it into practice, and then had moments of, oh my gosh, this is great, and look at the success I'm having, let's be honest, it becomes real for you. And that's what I want you to see. That's what I want you to feel. I want you to hear David tell the story of what it looked like when he went through the process within the Growth by Referrals program and put it into practice. And specifically, his interview was about layer number 1, what he was going to do for these existing referral sources once he had identified them, and what it was like for him. And I want you to hear it in his own words, through his own lens, with his own perspective of what it was like for him, because I know that's what makes it real for you. And when we can see it as being real for us, we're much more likely to reach for it, to grab for it, and then do the work to make it happen. Well, I love giving you guys the opportunity to see yourself through one of my other GBR students. So we're doing it again, but you will have to wait till next week for that. First, what I have to do is set up the second layer. I need to teach you about layer number 2 within your referral strategy. And then we're going to have a GBR student come on that I've interviewed who is incredible and amazing. And you're going to learn all about what her experience was putting layer number 2 into practice. And of course, her experience was putting layer number 2 into practice during COVID. So this is a fascinating conversation, but that's next week. What I need to talk to you about this week for episode 141 is to really understand the focus point of layer number 2. Now, as you know, I have a download that you guys can grab. It's a 1-page PDF visual that will show you these layers that are in these boxes, right? That will show you these layers where you can see how the layers fit together. And we start at the left side of the page and we work our way to the right. Like, we read left to right. We've got layer number 1 here, and then kind of layered on top of layer number 1 is where we are today, which is layer number 2. Now, remember, if layer number 1 is for your existing current referral sources, and it's where you start, because if you have referral sources, getting more for them is going to be the low-hanging fruit, and it's going to be what is easier. But for many, many, many of you, you will eventually land on and need layer number 2. And that is your ability to identify and cultivate potential referral sources. So those potential referral sources are those soon to be, the ones you wish would ultimately refer you. And the reality is, for some of you, you don't have any existing referral sources. So you start with layer 2 because you don't have layer number 1. But if you've been in business for a couple of years and you know you have some referral sources, I always say start with layer 1, go through that process of identifying them, build the plan to take care of them, and then move to layer number 2. For others of you, this is exactly where you're going to start, and that's okay. You're starting exactly where you're supposed to. I mean, it may not be where you want to be, but you're starting exactly where you need to be, and you've got to trust the process, and you've got to trust that you're where you are on purpose. So if you're starting here at layer number 2, I want to break this down for you so you have a pretty good understanding of exactly what this looks like. So our potential referral sources, what's the goal of layer number 2? It's to turn clients and contacts into referral sources. Now, if you've ever heard me talk about the 4 types of referral sources, you know I teach it with this thing called above the line and below the line. And there's 4 types. There's 2 above the line, clients and centers of influence, and then 2 below the line, family and friends, and then, of course, strangers. And I talk about how where we put our time and energy and effort and resources is in the 2 groups above the line. And that's what we're focusing on today. It's the two groups above the line. It's your clients and your centers of influence, which doesn't mean everybody in your network. It means the people who are uniquely positioned to refer you within your network. And when I say clients, I don't mean every client. I mean, that would be amazing if every client referred us, right? But they don't. So we're not looking for every client. We're not looking for every single contact or COI that we know. We're going to look for a smaller subset of them. And it's really important when we're starting to understand who these potential referral sources are, is to look, of course, to who refers you now. So if you get most of your referrals from clients, okay, so that's a really good thing to note that, hey, if I'm going to focus on developing new or soon to be or potential referral sources, maybe I should look at the commonalities of who's referring me now. Who typically refers me? Is it clients? Is it centers of influence? Is it people from a certain geographical area, right? Whatever it is it certain type of industries? That's an important step you kind of have to go through when you're determining what your second layer will look like for your potential referral sources. But ultimately, we're trying to identify a smaller list of people, and then we want to try to turn them into referral sources. And when we're successful, then we can keep adding to it. This is not a process where you start with like 500 people or even 100 people, and you're like, okay, let's turn them all into referral sources by next week or next month. Like that would be awesome. So totally not how it works. Okay. But it is this whole idea of step number one within layer number two is to identify them. You have to identify them. Now, I spent 3 episodes covering in detail thinking about and understanding the relationship you have with your existing referral sources in episode 135, 136, and 137. And I did this for potential referral sources a while back. You have to go back to episode 89, 91, and 92. I'm sure we'll revisit the topic in the future as well. And when you think about understanding who are the right people that should be referring you, it really does come down to your ability to identify them. Who are they? Who are they best, right? Who should they be? And it's not always that the person who you think is super well connected should also be referring you, because maybe they're not super well connected to anybody who would hire you based on what it is that you do. And folks, let me just go ahead and I'm taking out my pen and I'm just bursting, boop, boop. I can feel myself bursting bubbles all over the world in this moment. For those of you who are what I refer to as a dime a dozen, if you're a real estate agent, if you're an attorney, a CPA, an interior designer, a banker, a business coach, a consultant, and the list goes on and on and on, a home stager, right? You're a dime a dozen, which means there's not one of you in your area. There's probably way more than 5 of you in your area. And for some of you, let's be honest, there's dozens, if not hundreds, and in a lot of cases, thousands of you. Yep, I'm looking at you, my financial advisors and planners. Yep, I'm looking at you, my real estate agents, my mortgage brokers, my CPAs, my attorneys, right? There are so many of you, which means there's choices. And so what you have to understand and what you have to respect about this process is that even though you want everyone to refer you, that's just not how it works. That's not reality. So what you should be looking for is a core group of people who would love for you to be the person they refer when they need fill in the blank of what you do. But that's only going to happen if you know who they are, and then you're prepared to cultivate a relationship with them. So the first basic step of layer number 2 of having our potential referral sources become real, live, active referral sources is to first identify them. Once you've identified them, we actually need to start a process, right? We got to build a plan and start a process of how you're going to cultivate them into referral sources. Now, I teach this for those of you that are in my Growth by Referrals program. You know this. This is an extra free bonus training you have inside the program called Increase Your Referral Sources Masterclass. It's about to go through a rebrand, but I'm not sharing the new title yet. But right now it's called Increase Your Referral Sources. And it's a masterclass training inside the GBR program. It's also a standalone program as well, but I always tell folks, you're going to need both these skills. You might as well get it as a free bonus inside the GBR program when you join. And it is the idea of how you identify these potential referral sources and then the process you're going to put them through so that they will start referring you. But I feel like when I say that, identify these people and then put them through a process, right? Put them through the paces to get them to start referring you. I feel like when I say that, I'm talking about it in a very sterile way. Because the truth is, at the heart of what puts somebody in a position to want to refer you, puts them in that frame of reference, puts them in the mindset that they should want and they are willing to refer you, is all about the relationship you cultivate with them, which there's nothing sterile, right, about the relationship you're going to cultivate with them. And so it does come down to your ability to identify them and then plan out, right, a process that you can follow that allows you to cultivate a relationship with those potential referral sources. And the execution on this happens a little bit more regularly, not like monthly for every single person, but this is a more of a monthly rhythm in terms of your execution as you're nurturing these groups of people, right? It is a monthly execution in terms of this is a little bit more work than just identifying some existing referral sources and taking care of them with the touch points between 4 and 8 times a year. Like layer number 2 is a little bit more, there's more intentionality to it and there's definitely more work to it because you're trying to get someone to do something they've never done before, which is put their reputation on the line to refer someone they know and care about to you. So whereas you're not doing monthly execution with the same person every month, right? But there is some monthly execution, right? Doing some outreach, doing some things that happen on a monthly basis because we're trying to put this process in place so we can get to a point where we can start receiving referrals from them. Now, the cool thing about layer number 2 is once these people that you've identified and then cultivated into a referral source actually give you the first referral, right? They become a referral source. You plop them right out of, well, you just pluck them, maybe pluck instead of plop, right? You pluck them right out of this second layer and you drop them into the first layer. Because if you've already built your existing referral source plan, you're already taking care of those people. So the minute I get a referral from somebody brand new, it's like, oh, good, you're coming from this list. I'm going to pluck you right out of here and drop you over here with my next touch point that's happening within my referral plan. And that, of course, is with layer number 1. So not only do we need to identify these folks, and then we need to put a plan in process and do some execution so that we can cultivate them into referral sources in an ongoing way. The way that this actually works is our ability to invest in that relationship and try to help them and plant referral seeds. Now, of course, you can imagine I have some very specific referral seeds that are in that masterclass, Increase Your Referral Sources masterclass. I have some very specific referral seeds of how you do that with somebody who's actually never referred you. Of course, it looks different than if you do it with somebody who has referred you before, but there are ways that we cultivate that relationship that then allows us the opportunity to direct how they think about us. And that is, of course, in how we plant our referral seeds. And it's really, really important that we understand what that looks like so that we can actually be successful in turning these people who we wish would refer us into actually referring us. And so that is layer number 2. Again, the goal of layer number 2, this is the layer that we do for our potential referral sources. And the goal is to take those clients and those contacts that love us, right? And turn them into referral sources. And the basic steps of that is we identify, we create a plan, we do monthly execution, though not, of course, for the same person every month. And then, of course, we use those opportunities as we're cultivating those relationships, that we use that opportunity to really plant what we refer to as referral seeds. It's not a hard process. It's also not an overnight success process either. And it's something you have to be willing to do. And so what I'm super excited about is bringing on next week at episode 142, next week, bringing on a GBR student who joined right before COVID hit. So fascinating timeline, right? And then she talks about putting layer number 2 into effect. And guys, if she can do it, and she's going to talk about her success in the middle of COVID. This is definitely something I think you guys can all do, COVID or no COVID, right? Depending on when you're listening to this. And I mean, COVID will always be a thing, I'm sure, but maybe it won't be a thing the way it was in 2020. So I can't wait for you guys to hear Jackie talk about how she took what I just walked you through, those basic steps of what it looks like to turn somebody into a referral source. And you get to hear firsthand from her exactly how she did it and what it was like. And you'll listen to her talk about her high five moments that she has with her husbands. She has one husband. Her high five moments that she has with her husband and exactly what it looks like to put this into practice. And I can't wait. I mean, you guys know this. Again, I can talk about this stuff till I'm blue in the face. But at the end of the day, you guys get to hear it from her. And you get to hear what she did and how it worked. So please make sure you do not miss next week's episode 142. But right now, if you want to go download that free PDF that has the visual of what these 6 layers look like within the referral strategy, we're going to keep breaking them down as we go, as we have been doing so far. But if you want to know exactly what this looks like, you can grab that on the show notes page for this episode, which is stacybrownrandall.com/141. That's 141. And remember, Stacy has an E. I can hear some of you like reciting it with me right in that moment. And of course, I would love for you to share your thoughts in our Referrals Without Asking Facebook group, because that is a place where I answer questions. There is community. Other people are asking questions and answering questions. We're having conversations and debates. I mean, very positive, polite ones. We don't get into anything crazy. In that Referrals Without Asking Facebook group, we stay on point, or at least that's what I have people do, is stay on point, stay on topic. But I would love for you guys to join if you're not in it. And of course, that's where you can go and ask questions. If you're going through and you're listening to this episode and maybe you're going to listen to next week's, of course you are, with Jackie, and that brings up some questions in your mind, that's where you go to get them answered. Go into the Referrals Without Asking Facebook group. Okay, so coming up, I don't even need to say coming up next week is episode 142 because you already know. And we're diving in to see another referral strategy in action. And I am so excited what you guys get to hear Jackie talk about when her hard work paid off and exactly what it looks like for her. And remember, if you want to sign up for that challenge, the 4-day How to Think Like a Referral Ninja Master challenge, sign up. I think Jackie actually joined right after she went through one of my challenges. So maybe you need to be like Jackie. Go ahead and sign up. I know we're on day 2. It's not too late. Go ahead and join us. Sign up. We'll get you the emails that you missed from day 1. No stress. Day 2 as well. And you can join our challenge. It's the 4-day How to Think Like a Referral Ninja Master. Just go to stacybrownrandall.com/challenge and get yourself signed up, and we'll automatically send you any emails that you've missed. And then, of course, you can catch up on the replays of the live that I've done as well inside the Referrals Without Asking Facebook group. All right, my friends, you know what to do. Until then, take control and grow your business. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Roadmap to Grow Your Business podcast. To access all resources and links mentioned in today's show and to connect with Stacy, head over to www.stacybrownrandall.com.